Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here, and today's video is going to seem almost silly, but kind of running out of ideas. And I think while it is of a less serious note, I still think it does have some merits to make its own video. So the video might be short today. But like I always say, if you yourself find the information in this video useful, then please like and subscribe. And if the information in this video would be useful to a friend or family member or someone you know, then share the video with them. It helps spread the message. And today's video, we're going to talk about taking care of your feet. In a grid down situation where electricity was gone, water supply was limited, you were more focused on, drinking it than personal hygiene. We're going to talk about taking care of your feet because, you know, it's a pretty important part of your body. And if you were having to bug out or you're doing any type of, work to keep yourself fed and secure, then, it needs some serious thought on the first aid side, and then we're going to talk about socks and footwear and that sort of thing. But first things first, it also does have a slightly more important reasoning, especially for people that are diabetic. Uh, your feet are one of your extremities that is furthest away from your body, and so sometimes blood flow could be an issue, and simple injuries on your feet could turn into serious ones for being diabetic. One of the things they told me was, even if you didn't take a shower or take a bath that day, you should still wash your feet before you go to bed each night. So, if you're diabetic, taking care of your feet is slightly more important than you think. Uh, when it comes into a prepper side of things, one of the things that I stockpile is foot powder and moleskin, because if you've done any extended amount of rucking or hiking or just going for walks, then you could experience sore spots or blisters, especially the longer distances you tend to go. This can pop up more as your feet sweat and moisture builds up inside of whatever footwear you're wearing. And so, foot powder helps keep your feet dry. There are some foot powders that have cooling agents in them that can help in that aspect. And then moleskin is there for if you do get blisters, you can help mitigate the pain from that. On the sock side of things, for the most part, I just like having a decent pair of thicker, almost work socks. If you went to Walmart, they've got kind of cheaper socks like Hanes and stuff. But you take it a step up. I think these are Dickies brands. They're just slightly thicker. I think they're better than cheaper socks, but they're not quite at the max level of getting, you know, socks specific for hiking or super thick wool socks for cold environments. But decent pair of socks can go a long way. And I can say from experiences doing hiking and rucking, um, wearing two pairs of socks can alleviate some of the pain and stress. So having tons of socks is a good thing to store up as a prepper on that side of it as well. Now, when it comes to footwear, I've got three options here in front of me. Um, Obviously, it's not the end of the list, and there are other options for other type of scenarios. But I think every person that is getting into prepping should have um, at least some sort of resemblance of one of these three items, and whatever order you get them in is your own preference. And I wouldn't put it, at the highest level of your, preparedness list. It's not like, oh, I gotta have these three pairs of shoes before I focus on, food and water. It's just one of those kind of things of, if you have the spare resources for it, cash or whatever, then at some point it's something you can check off your list. But the first item I have on here is just a decent basic pair of running shoes. Um, these are literally, I think they're just called Nike Running. I got complete black for doing work in the restaurant industry at some point. And they don't have to be Nikes. They could be Reebok. They could be, actually can't, Under Armour. I was drawing a blank on other type of running shoes. But whatever running shoes you're most comfortable with, go with that. I've worn Nikes all of high school doing track and cross country, and I wore Nikes all of college when I was working out and stuff. And I would say they're a pretty decent pair of, shoes to have. And as a prepper, having a nice pair of shoes is a good thing. I would say stray away from skater type shoes or shoes that don't have any type of built in arch. So, like Converse, and uh, they still make shoes by DC. Most of the shoes that you would find in like a Zoomies or a Paxsons or something like that, I would stick away from those because they're really specifically made more for looks or for skateboarding, like I mentioned. But a decent pair of running shoes should run you between $50 and $80, and obviously you can get much higher. You could spend several $100s on a pair of shoes, or you could spend $10 on a pair of shoes. But a decent pair of running shoes isn't going to break the bank. And out of the three options I'm talking about, they are going to be your cheapest option. But the next option I have for you is some sort of hiking shoes. Now, the ones that I have are Merles, and these have been wonderful for me. Um, their biggest step up advantage from these is they have a much sturdier heel support system, and just all around they're a lot more rugged. They are a lot more heavy than your typical running shoe, but for the most part, you can do the same activities in these shoes as you can running shoes. They're just built to be used more off road, outdooring, if you will, and they're better designed for dealing with situations that I think preppers are prepping for. You talk about bugging out with your kit and everything, and you're carrying 50 pounds and your rifle and all your food and water and shelter and stuff. And hiking shoes are going to be a much better option compared to your Nike running shoes. Now, this is my own preference. I've done hundreds of miles of hiking before, and I prefer the shoe more than like a standard hiking boot that goes up several inches. Um, I have had ankle problems in the past, and most of the situations where I've had ankle problems, these have done the exact same protection as a pair of hiking shoes has. So, whatever your preference is, I prefer the hiking shoes. But lastly, I do have a boot, and technically, you could do hiking in these. Almost put them too far out of reach of the camera. So this is just a pair of the standard issue. These are the cold weather boots that I never had to wear, so I never cared to lace them up. I pulled them out for this video. Um, so I would stray away from uh, the standard issue, uh, just in my opinion. But having a decent pair of combat boots, I think, should be on every prepper's list. And really, they're doing, for me, the things that this can't. If I am doing some sort of bugging out scenario where I'm going more along the lines of I'm carrying as much as I possibly need, then I want something with a lot more heel support than the hiking shoes. The hiking shoes are more for uh, camping scenarios or short distance travel. I mean, I would be perfectly okay with taking shoes like that, 25 to 50 miles, but I would much rather have a strong, sturdy, well tested boot for distances over that. And this is all your own preference. If you think you can handle everything in a pair of running shoes, go for it. Just know that at the end of the day, this is your lightest option. This is the option that I would say has the lowest amount of ankle support. So for short distance, for uh, training stuff, I think it's a great option. The hiking shoe, I think, is a nice intermediate middle of the road. So I would put that in the 10 to 25, maybe even, you know, 40 or 50 mile range. And then I would put this in the I am traveling across the United States. My bug out location is hundreds of miles away or across state lines or something. But outside of this, you can go with a traditional hiking boot. Some people would probably say they wear work boots every day and that's their go to shoe of choice. Others would wear cowboy boots, and you'd probably have someone saying that they're going to wear stilettos or something because that's what they wear all the time. That's what they're used to. Let's put these shoes over there so the dog doesn't chew up the laces. But this is my preference on the situation. Um, Obviously, the information in this video that I would take away from it is having lots of socks just in case you have to double sock, and changing your socks often is important. Having foot care products like foot powder or like Gold Bond or something like that, and then having moleskin to deal with any sort of blister issues or hot spots arising. That's a good thing to have. And just knowing in a survival situation that keeping your feet clean and dry is an extremely important um, aspect of your body, especially if you're doing a lot of traveling across an area. You are going to go much slower, and you're not going to enjoy it anywhere near as much if you've got several blisters and hot spots over your feet and they've been sweating, and so you're building up um, just a lot of issues as you're making your journey. But plenty of socks, the right foot care, and the even the right footwear could mean the difference of an enjoyable training session or um, being better prepared in a life or death situation. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you have better shoe options, footwear options? Um, would you throw in a pair of rubber boots in case of, wet weather? Um, do Crocs or flip flops have a merit in your footwear preparedness strategy? I don't know. Leave that in the comment section down below. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.